A last-minute injury strikes the UFC 317 main card, and the ripple is instant. In the space of one training misstep, Manel Kape's fractured foot doesn't just scrap a fight, it rewrites an entire pay-per-view storyline. Royval, who spent weeks visualizing Kape's timing, angles, and switch stance bursts, suddenly finds himself staring across the octagon at Joshua Van, a fearless whirlwind fresh off a statement stoppage 4 days ago. Meanwhile, fresh rankings pour gasoline on that tension. Islam Makhachev clings to pound-for-pound supremacy, yet the bigger story is the meteoric rise of Merab Dvalishvili, catapulted to number 1, 2 on the strength of relentless takedown storms that left statisticians gasping. Jon Jones, once the immovable monarch, suddenly finds his name sitting 3rd, proof that inactivity has a price, even a legend can't dodge forever. Ilia Topuria's slick counter shots and featherweight rage break into the top 4, signaling generational shift. For promoters, these shuffles are gold. They fuel training camp sound bites, ignite social feeds, and pressure champions to fight before their seats grow colder. Fans dissect every decimal of the algorithm, arguing whether dominance should outweigh recency or if resumes fade with time. The visual of Jones sliding down the list is particularly jarring. It's the first tangible sign that the sports clock keeps ticking no matter how many belts you stack. With rankings freshly inked, every contender announcement, every scratch, every call-out gains extra weight because one big night could redraw the ladder all over again. No one amplifies that ranking drama louder than Ariel Helwani unloading on Jon Jones' social media crusade. Helwani goes beyond mere criticism. He frames each late-night tweet as a brick pried from the foundation of Jones' legacy. When Jones pines for Francis Ngannou, only months after scoffing at that matchup while Francis was still under UFC contract, Helwani calls it campaigning for a war he once feared. He paints a portrait of the great champion who refuses his Tom Aspinall obligation, hinting that the real challenge isn't physical but psychological, confronting the new king in the yard he once ruled by force. Helwani's rant strikes a nerve because it taps a universal fear, watching greatness tarnish itself by misjudging when to fight, when to fade, and when to stay silent. The audience, already divided by loyalty, now debates whether Jones is strategizing or backpedaling. Every repost, every meme, every clipped sound bite keeps the conversation ablaze, turning talk show segments into courtroom dramas where Jones's every emoji feels like Exhibit A. Legacy, it turns out, can erode in real time, and Helwani's commentary provides the play-by-play. Meanwhile,
Jon Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message.
Hello, John. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight, so I'm coming for it.
Tony Ferguson refuses to let nostalgia die, tossing a digitally stitched image of himself and Khabib Nurmagomedov into the internet stream like chum for the sharks. The AI rendering, equal parts creepy and compelling, lands with a caption that reads more like a dare than a joke. Coach the ultimate fighter with me, and I'll stop clowning you forever. Beneath the playful jabs lies genuine unfinished business. Ferguson never accepted the cursed collapse of their 5 scheduled fights. Fans lurch back into the what-if vortex. Prime Ferguson's elbows slicing through Khabib's guard. Prime Khabib smothering top control, draining Ferguson's cardio. Yet the modern twist is that coaching TUF revives everything without requiring either legend to survive a brutal weight cut. A season's worth of reality show pranks, philosophical clashes, and training room flexing could settle the rivalry and trash talk currency, if not in the cage. It's part comedy pitch, part legacy quest, and part heartfelt attempt by Ferguson to write one last chapter with the opponent fate kept stealing. For viewers, the prospect is irresistible. Every episode would drip with the tension of 2 icons who never quite became dance partners, but might still trade final looks across an empty gym.
Tony Ferguson, the fight that never happened. How do you feel about not getting that opportunity to fight Tony Ferguson?
I feel a little bit sad, but same time, I always understand, like, my game, it's worse for him. He don't have wrestling, he don't have grappling, how he gonna stop me?
While the nostalgia wave rolls, Joaquin Buckley charts a future built on sheer audacity. He's days away from colliding with Kamaru Usman, one of the most accomplished welterweights in history, yet he's already lobbying for a title shot the second the referee hoists his arm. It's not arrogance for its own sake. Buckley's entire brand thrives on believing the impossible. He vows that even if Islam Makhachev grabs the 170-pound crown, the Dagestani maestro will bolt the division before sharing canvas with him. In Buckley's mind, power equals deterrence, and he sees himself as a walking siren that sends champions sprinting toward higher higher weight classes or early retirements. His interviews crackle with phrases like, "He can't out-wrestle me," and "I've never been submitted," daring anyone to pull receipts. The bravado serves a tactical purpose. In a landscape where contenders jostle for microphone time, Buckley's hyper-confidence punches through the noise. By framing his Usman bout as the first domino in a chain leading straight to gold, he invites fans to invest emotionally, either to watch a dream fulfilled or to witness a spectacular derailment. Either outcome sells tickets.
I always love to see the type of energy that fighters give other people and to see if they will give to me. And with Kamaru Usman, I feel like a lot of fights that, he had and a lot of opponents that, he would go back and forth with, whether that's Masvidal, whether that's...
On another front of verbal warfare, Henry Cejudo mixes humility with provocation as he angles for Sean O'Malley. Cejudo openly admits that O'Malley's range and tricky footwork pose more problems for him than Umar Nurmagomedov's grinding style would, an honesty rare in callouts. Yet beneath the respect lies a chess move. Cejudo knows a striker versus striker narrative is catnip to matchmakers who crave highlight reels. He positions their shared Arizona roots and simultaneous losing streaks as cinematic symmetry. Two former champions, bruised but unbroken, seeking redemption in a duel that feels less like a comeback and more like a referendum on hype. By highlighting their personal intersections, same city, same gyms, same nights spent shadowboxing under desert streetlights, Cejudo reframes the matchup as destiny rather than convenience. Fans who once mocked his Triple C bravado now lean closer, drawn by the sincerity laced through his latest pitch. In a division clustered with wrestle-heavy threats, the promise of a dynamic striking chess match and the possibility that either man could revive his brand overnight makes this storyline glow.
Decisive on Umar beating Merab that, like Merab just got another level of respect for me. For what he was able to do, man. He beat a young 29-year-old young ego who was undefeated. There's one thing that
Kayla Harrison, fresh from detonating the bantamweight hierarchy, steps back into American top team to a thunder of applause that feels as much relief as celebration. For teammates who watched her Olympic judo dominance morph into a relentless ground and pound arsenal, her championship win cements every early morning randori session as prophecy fulfilled. Yet Michael Bisping quickly pivots the conversation toward Amanda Nunes, warning that the defensive wrestling templates most fighters memorize falter against a judoka who foot sweeps in phone booth range. Where standard MMA camp drills teach underhooks and hip pressure, Harrison's core muscle memory is to redirect balance with invisible torque. Tiny shifts that send opponents skidding without telegraphing. Bisping's analysis sparks intrigue. Could Nunes' sledgehammer hands solve puzzles if she's airborne? The speculation injects fresh urgency into a women's division hungry for blockbuster stakes after Nunes' brief retirement tease. Each highlight clip of Harrison's effortless throw becomes potential foreshadowing, and every camera shot of Nunes hitting pads draws micro-analysis of stance width. Momentum, that intangible currency, suddenly feels squarely in Harrison's account, even if the contract ink is still drying.
Amanda Nunes is sitting right there. You've said that you believe she retired a bit early. Do you think she fights again?
Do I think Amanda Nunes fights again? She just said yes.
And question for Kayla. There we go.
Which means that me booing her in Canada.
Across the Pacific, Jack Della Maddalena takes a philosophical detour, Instagramming the welterweight belt beside a caption defending the UFC's pay ladder. His stance, that higher tiers deserve disproportionate reward to maintain motivation, runs counter to critics who brand the pay scale exploitative. Coming from a newly crowned champion, the argument carries unexpected weight. Here's a fighter who just reached the summit, yet he's effectively lobbying against flattening the mountain. Skeptics fire back that JDM speaks from a position of comfort, but supporters applaud the meritocratic logic. The post ignites debate threads where keyboard economists trade revenue splits, guarantee clauses, and risk-reward ratios like stock picks. JDM, with one photo, manages to reframe a decades-old dispute as a personal ethos. Fight your way up or sign elsewhere. In doing so, he sharpens his persona as both company man and rugged individualist, a dual identity that can win corporate favor without alienating the die-hard fan base that loves his violent artistry. For an athlete who rose on short-notice bookings paid peanuts, the irony is rich and tailor-made for animated podcast segments.
You're going to see the meaning of Canelo hands. Jack goes down at 3, he gets knocked out.
And for Jack, I mean, Bilal saying he's not going to shoot. Is this a gift for you at this point?
Yeah, it would be nice, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Merab Dvalishvili's coach, John Wood, tosses gasoline on matchmaking chatter by naming Corey Sandhagen as the perfect October dance partner. Wood praises Sandhagen's creativity while casually predicting Merab will solve it like a Sudoku he's seen before. The subtext is daring. By painting a top 5 opponent as routine homework, Team Dvalishvili flexes supreme confidence. Merab himself leans into mischief, posting a freeze frame of his iconic O'Malley lift with Donald Trump watching cage side, captioned only, "We are going to Georgia." The double entendre overshadows geography. Is he inviting O'Malley to his homeland for a showdown, or simply hauling the bantamweight belt to the Caucasus one day? Either way, the image travels. Fans share it for the absurd visual of combat sports meeting political theater. The troll lands partly because it's delivered with a grin, not a rant. It reframes Merab from dark horse grinder to charismatic disruptor, the kind who can headline arenas and still laugh about it afterward. And by tweaking O'Malley's pride, he keeps a rival second-guessing and a storyline simmering while contract negotiations creep forward.
What do you want next?
I would feel so slimy if I asked for a title shot before Merab. Merab is an absolute animal. I respect him a ton. I want that #1 spot. I got a line. It's a little embarrassing.
Go ahead. Oh, as long as he's not.
Finally, the simmer boils over between Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopes, producing the sport's latest bilingual soap opera. Yair, smarting from whispers that he ducked about, records a selfie diatribe claiming he'd rather scrap in the street than sign a fight that doesn't move the meter. It's raw, unscripted, and laced with just enough expletive-dodging edge to remain YouTube-friendly. Within hours, Lopes fires a rebuttal, a meticulous timeline of acceptance emails, medical clearances, and alternative opponents he says yes to, including Gene Silva and Aaron Pico, proving he's never been the one to hesitate. His closing flourish, "I don't recommend the street, I know what I'm capable of," carries the ominous calm of someone who's balanced a ledger and found it wanting. The back and forth does more than entertain. It illustrates how modern fighters weaponize social platforms as both courtroom and coliseum. Every post is evidence, every comment section a jury box. Fans find themselves toggling translations, hunting timestamps, deciding whose narrative feels truer. Amid the chaos, the UFC brass quietly evaluates health reports, ticket sale projections, and visa logistics, weighing whether this surging animosity can anchor a Mexico City card or serve as the co-main in Las Vegas. Either city would erupt. When the dust settles on this week of upheaval, injuries, rankings, callouts, and feuds, the takeaway is clear. Volatility isn't a bug in MMA's code, it's the feature. One fractured foot gave rise to a fresh storyline. One reshuffled ranking chart stoked rivalries. One AI photo reignited a legendary grudge. And one street fight threat transformed a rumored matchup into headline gold. The sport lives on motion, on the promise that tomorrow's news will upend today's certainties. For viewers and fighters alike, the only stable truth is that the octagon rewards those who adapt fastest. Whether it's Royval crafting a brand new game plan overnight, Jones navigating legacy debates, or Harrison upgrading throw sequences for the noon's puzzle, momentum swings minute by minute, and every press conference, every weigh-in stare-down, every offhand tweet can redirect an entire career. As UFC 317 approaches with its patched-together main card, fans aren't just watching fighters, they're watching dominoes fall, each story knocking the next into motion. And if history is any guide, tomorrow's first headline will make today's controversies feel quaint, because in mixed martial arts, the script is always being rewritten before the ink even dries.